Hello there, I'm Vas. Welcome to another Vas Gaming video. Today we have top 8 Greek nationals list from Sarris. He played branded Chimera. He also topped at the Greek Open with pure branded. So first of all, congratulations, man. So, we want to talk about the deck, want to talk about the list,
Yes, first of all, thank you for having me in this channel. Brand Chimera, so the big question, why did I choose Guardian Chimera, Brand Chimera instead of pure branded?
Of puppet look.
No, I think branded is not only a puppet lock. In the Greek Open, I played around 21 games in 9 rounds, and I only used puppet 3 times. So the win condition is not only the puppet, but it's of course it's an easy win condition. But in this format, it's not very easily accessible because of the amount of hand traps every deck plays. So what I learned from the Greek Open is that my deck cannot play through 3 hand traps, for example, unless it has a very specific hand or unless my opponent misplays. So I wanted to look for a way to play around this issue, and I wanted a bit more consistency. So that's why I chose Chimera, because the deck can very easily play around hand traps thanks to Chimera Fusion, which is a quick play poly. And the whole idea of the branded package is to make an early Dragoon, so you protect yourself from Droll or Rush, or even Nibiru and all these hand traps. Also, it works as a bait, because when your opponent will see a branded opening or a brand fusion, they will try to ask the brand fusion, so then you can proceed and make your full illusion combo. And of course, that's why I play 3 tactics, because if my opponent uses Us, for example, and I have any extender like Quattle, Sword Knight or Apprentice, I can look his hand with talents, rip out the card, so I have full knowledge of his hand and how to play around it. Plus, now he has 3 cards in hand, and when I do my full combo, I will rip 1 card in the end phase with Chimera. So he will start his turn with 3 cards, and I will know 2 of them, in case he asks me, of course. And he has to play around a monster negate, a targeting negate, and a Guardian Chimera pop, which is not the easiest thing to do. Plus, if I have a really good hand, I can put out the Diabels, which is an anti-spell for my opponent, plus a pop. So almost every deck cannot play through this. Now let's start with the list, one by one.
Okay.
I decided to play 2 Aluber instead of 1, because in many games I opened both Aluber and opening, which does make it a brick.
Yeah.
And in the old version of the deck, before the new support, Aluber was a very terrible card for this deck, because you needed the normal summon to summon either Gazelle or Sword Knight. But now with Apprentice, you can use Brand Fusion if you don't have a good hand to make Rain Broom using Gazelle and Albaz, searching the Apprentice, and if you have a Chimera Fusion in hand or a Polymerization, you can search Quattle, which will give you either Gazelle or Baphomet to make the Fusion Baphomet, and then proceed to make the actual full Chimera combo. That's the main difference from the old Chimera branded lists. Now, of course, we play 2 Baphomet. We need 1 for our turn and 1 for the opponent's turn, because you will summon both with Sword Knight, and it gives you 4 pluses. Plus, it's a monster reborn for illusions, so it can either cheat out the Diabels or Sword Knight from the graveyard. Of course, we play 3 Quattle, the main searcher, plus the targeting negate, which is amazing for dodging Permanence Veiler or Murner, which, in my opinion, are the best 3 hand traps in this format. Of course, one Jabels, it's our lock, our puppet lock, but in this build, instead of locking them out of special summon, you lock them out of spells. And most of the decks use spells, and it's also a protection card, so it ensures you that you will not get even lead, because your opponent cannot use quick play spells or traps. So cards like Droplet or Tenpai Kaimen or stuff like this will be useless. And of course, if you have the information what your opponent is playing because you rip one card in the end phase with Chimera, you can play around what spells you want to destroy with Diabels. Now, of course, the 3 Edgem Chains, I tested it at the start with 2, but I felt like it's an amazing card if you play 3 Apprentice and 3 Openings, because not only it chain blocks, but it ensures that you will have a fusion card in your hand by activating the Patchwork, which I do play 3 of, because it is a very good starting card in your combo. It can bait Ash Blossoms when your opponent knows you're playing Chimera. Now, I do play 2 Albaz instead of 1, because you need 1 to make Dragoon, but the second one is for the grind game, which will happen sometimes against some decks like Voiceless or stuff like this. Plus, I did choose to play 1 Albalenatus in the extra deck for this event. It almost came up sometimes, but never actually made it. But nevertheless, it was a good idea to play it, because now Snake Eye played Hope Harbinger on top of Lamberts. And Voiceless play the Pendulum Graph Dragon, so you can sometimes cheat out their negate. Now, of course, the 3 Gazelles, it's, in my opinion, a better searcher than Sword Knight, because it plays around Ash Blossom, and when it is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 illusion, which enables a lot of combos, thanks to the new support. Of course, 1 Master Tao, I think mandatory in this build, because this is the way to make a turn 1 Diabels, or unbrick some hands by summoning back the Sword Knight. For example, if you have Sword Knight and Gazelle in hand, I will choose to normal summon Gazelle, because I think no one will use Ash on a Gazelle, because they will hold for Sword Knight or Brand Fusion, and 1-for-1 trade is not really worth it for them if they don't know the deck, which that was my idea, that no one really knew how to counter the deck, because no one plays it. So if you have Gazelle and Sword Knight in hand, what I do is I add Chimera Fusion and fuse with them, and summon the Performant Fusion, and I chain block with Chainlink 1 Performant and Chainlink 2 Gazelle, searching either Coatl or Apprentice, and you send Master Tau, and then you do summon the Sword Knight, so you have a free Chimera Fusion that returns itself to the hand, and you do have the Sword Knight that will summon the Performant, giving you your second Chimera Fusion. So arguably it's a better normal summon than Sword Knight. And of course Sword Knight is a monster negate as well. Now the 3 Apprentice, nothing much to say. It's a very good searcher that synergizes with Edgem Chain. And of course the Hex Seal, because it is a light, you summon Dragoon with this, you have a free body on the field for extra fusions. I don't play the Versago because I think the light is better, plus I don't really want to use too many bricks on the deck. Of course the Brand Fusion and 3 opening, it gives you access to an early fusion summon and can bait hand traps. Of course 1 call by to negate those hand traps. 3 Chimera Fusion, mandatory for this deck, the best card of the deck, you dodge hand traps like nothing. Your opponent looks like you, he looks at you and you just dodge and discard their hand. Of course 3 Droplet, because not only it synergizes with Edgem Chain, but you can dodge hand traps, and it's the best card of the format, I think. It's better than any board breaker, and you can use it like a better imperm in most of the cases because it doesn't target. You can add boards like untargetable fields like voiceless. Of course, 3 patchwork, like we talked about it, and 2 polymerization to go along with patchworks. And I play 3 talents and not 2 or 1 because it is very good if you open a Brand Fusion combo or your opponent tries to hand trap you like Effect Veiler or Rush. So you can either choose to draw into an engine card because most of the deck is engine, so you are almost guaranteed you will draw good. Or you can just rip their hand twice with this and Chimera. It's an amazing combo. Your opponent cannot revive from the situation. Now the extra deck is pretty tight. I didn't use super polymerization in the deck, as you see. I really thought about it, but I came to the conclusion that in this format I cannot afford to play it in this deck, despite the fact that it won me many games in the Greek Open using Brand Despia. But the thing with Brand Despia is they have better fusions to be as super poly targets in their engine, like Mirror Jade or Despia Queritis. This deck doesn't have it. I thought about the Labyrinth and the Yubel matchup because especially Yubel, as you might agree, is a very good deck. And I didn't know really how to counter it apart from using Droplet. But after I tested it with my friends that play Yubel, I thought I don't really need Super Poly in the deck. So I play one Albalinatus, as we explained earlier, one Albion. Arguably, you could play 2 and replace Albalinatus. In some cases, you might need the second one to summon a Mirror Jade or one Chimera Fusion. What I did one game was I summoned Albion and used 3 illusions in graveyard and Chimera Fusion to summon the big Chimera of the archetype that attacked for game because it had 4 attacks or something. It was very funny. Because it's a level 8 fusion, so Albion can summon that, and it can also summon the small Chimeras. Baphomet, I originally thought it was a one-off, but it is a very good two-off. You can sometimes you make this more than you make the other Chimera because the Foolish effect is very good with Master Tau or Diabels. The Graveyard effect is not the best, it's not as good as the other one, so arguably you might need to make the other one sometimes just for the Graveyard effect. Of course, the big Chimera Fusion, MVP of the whole event, it won me all 3 of my voiceless matchups because, yeah, okay, I must attack your Ritual Master, but your Ritual Master will have 0 attack at the end of the damage step and I will attack it 3 more times. So, GG. Yeah, I won 3 voiceless, 1 Snake Eye and 1 Fluanderis with this card, so it was amazing. Of course, the 2 Chimeras, the idea of the deck to discard their hand and put them on less advantage right from the start, plus gaining the info on what they're playing. Of course, 2 Guardian Chimeras, some people play 1. I need to play 2, in my opinion. You make 2 most of the times, especially when you go up against a runic variant, runic stand for example. You make both and you use this and you either Droplet or use another Chimera Fusion to get it out of the field to pop their card if you are under skill drain, for example. 1 Lubellion, pretty standard, to recycle back your resources and make a Mirror Jade or a Dragoon. You see when you need to make Lubellion in some cases. When you have a good illusion in your hand and you have already an illusion in your graveyard, like Coatl or Diabels, you can do a brand fusion, and instead of making Albion, you can summon this using Baphomet from the deck. Discard as a cost in selling one the good illusion you have in your hand. And because Baphomet is legally activatable, you can target the illusion you discarded. So you summon back the illusion you need. So that's a cool interaction, I think. Magnum the Reliever, MVP as well. One of the best fusions, recycle and draw on top of popping cards is amazing. In Tenpai, it's better than Guardian Chimera in the Tenpai matchup because you pop their field spell when they activate it and not preemptively, because if they have a second one, they cannot use the effect to add. So that's amazing. One Mirror Jade only made it like in one voiceless matchup, which was good, but you don't really summon it. The main idea of the branded package is to go for Dragoon and protect your plays, not to make Mirror Jade, but in some matchups this is better, arguably. Of course, one Dragostapelia made it almost every game. You don't play Garura, as I said, because I don't play Super Poly. So when you need to fuse away your materials, if you have both Baphomet, the fusion and the main deck monster, you fuse with this. Of course, as I explained many times, Dragon is there to protect your engine. Also, it's a very hard monster to out because they will need to put extra effort to out this, and if they don't out this, good luck with 4,000 attack monster that negates. It's also very good against decks like Runic or Sky Striker or Voiceless, because how will they out this? It's very, very hard. And Rindbroom is in this deck the best branded fusion because it synergizes with Gazelle, as explained earlier, and the graveyard effect is amazing because if you are in a situation when you can make Dragoon and you need an engine, you summon this with Gazelle, you search your full combo, and if you use droplets or Chimera Fusion and using this card as material, then you can summon Albaz or this back, so it's free. Plus, the negate effect is very good in this format. It can out Apollousa, it can out Princess, it can out SP, all this stuff, it's very good against. Now, the side deck. The very first card is my favorite card of the side deck. Yeah, this is the Spice. My thought was that Tenpai and branded players will play Crossout for the D-Barrier. So, what card does exactly the same but better? Simul Archfiend. What is Simul Archfiend? It's an Archfiend card. And what can search Archfiend cards? Iris. So, yes, that was amazing. Not only is amazing, but it gives you an extra space in the side deck because you play two cards that do exactly the same. So you don't need to draw them. You can just send this off Baphomet and then search it. So that's actually very good. It destroys link decks as well, like Snake Eye. Snake Eye cannot play through this because what is Snake Eye without links? It's not a deck. Like, okay, they can trigger Flambers and then summon back, and then what? They cannot do anything. That's the reason I survived one turn in top 8 against the Snake Eye. He passed the turn because he couldn't link climb and not game me. But unfortunately, I lost that game because I made a significant error. I play 3 Bestials. I was a bit reluctant to play the Bestials because I thought of playing the Diddy Crow for matchups like Tenpai and Snake Eye, but looking at this deck I thought, what is the worst matchup? And the answer was Branded. I cannot really beat Branded unless I draw Droplet and they don't know the line for playing around Droplet for the Puppet Lock. which I will not leak. But because I don't play Super Poly or any hand traps, I thought the worst matchup was Branded, and so I decided to play the Pistols, which are better against Branded than DD Crow, in my opinion. Now, the next card is why I don't play Super Poly for Yubel, because this card completely destroys Yubel and Fluanderis and other decks like Mikanko, but you don't expect Mikanko in an arsenal, but nevertheless you can respect it by playing this. This card, despite being older than me, I think, I don't know, is amazing because it says when a monster is summoned that has less than 1400 attack, it instantly gets destroyed. So that's why I wasn't afraid of Yubel, because this is a level 4 beast, so it's searchable with Baphomet, and you can dap it with Baphomet Fusion, and then reborn with the other Chimera. And when your opponent summons any Yubel monster, they all have 0 attack, so they get destroyed. Even if they use their effects to summon the next evolutions, they also get destroyed, so they don't gain any value. They just deck thin, they don't do anything. Yeah, and of course it destroys Fluanderis, which is, I despise that deck. I don't want to see any Fluanderis. I did play against one Fluanderis round 2, and I summoned this card and they just looked at it and they scooped. Yeah. I will talk firstly about Cosmic Cyclone, and then I will go for the Nibiru's. Cosmic, I played Cosmic because I was more afraid of Centurion and Runic Stun than I was for Snake Eye. That's why I don't play Lightning Storm and Duster. I think it's pretty respectable that to have 6 cards that out the Centurion FTK. This card was very useful, but that's as far as the side deck went. The Nibiru and Tivoli never came up. Nibiru, I played it because it was amazing at the Greek Open. It punishes very heavily the bad Snake Eye players. Very heavily. They cannot play this with just normal summoning Ash. If they go for the normal summon Ash combo without the Diabelle Star or Castira package, when they summon back with Flambers, they can get the rock and pass their turn. And evenly, of course, it's good against Snake Eye because no Snake Eye variant makes a trap negate. They make a spell negate with Hope. And I thought most of the players should go for the Hope Harbinger package and not for the Omega or Omega Dispatter. So that's why I chose evenly. But it didn't came up, but as an idea is very good. And the next card is my favorite card of the side deck, and not to win against Standby, Branded and Snake Eye. It is basically a lingering effect of Deep Barrier, but it works for every type they summon throughout the turn. And thanks to my testing partners Nikos Konstantopoulos and Giorgos Hatzikonstantinou, I learned how to beat the Tempai matchup very quickly. And this card is the reason, along with Diabels. I did play against one Tenpai, unfortunately, only one. The matchup was free. Not really something the player could do, it is just a matchup, it's the way it is. It's not a skill issue. But they cannot out an anti-spell and a deep barrier that they cannot cross out. Like, if they tell you to go first, and they prepare for the deep barrier with crossouts, they have 4 dead cards in their deck. So yeah, free low.
Well, the list is crazy. I actually want to play this deck again, honestly. So, any shoutouts before we call it a day?
As I said earlier, big shoutouts to my testing partners and big shoutout to Giannis Sato for winning the whole event. I faced him on top 8. He destroyed me, but it was a game. It was a game I very much enjoyed, and I hope I get back at him next event. And I want to congratulate him for winning the whole thing. And of course, big shout out to you for making the video happen.
Okay guys, that was the video. If you liked it, like, comment, share and subscribe. And until next time, Vas Gaming sign out. Peace. 涙ひと粒